Welcome to another morning in my crazy life. Um, this is going to be a part three to the continuing story time. And before I get into that, because I'm going to decide I'm going to make this the final part because I'm just ready to be done with this story time. Um, but so, yeah, um, I'm going to try to meanwhile, I'm trying to figure out what to do with my hair for today. Um, I was on Pinterest trying to gain some inspiration. I don't know why, because I've been on Pinterest several times to get hairstyle information, but like there's there's no point because 99% of the styles on that website are styles that I can't really do, at least without a ton of practice. Like, it's not a quick hairstyle, it's like super complicated. But anyways, yeah. And I wanted to take a picture. I was wearing a black headband. I'm starting to really get into the headbands too. I was wearing like a black one to match my SpongeBob t-shirt, and it just went really well with everything going on. Like, the gold went well with SpongeBob, the black headband went well with the black t-shirt. So I like the way I looked yesterday, but too bad I didn't take a picture. But anyways, no headband today. I'm just gonna like probably do a half up, half down like I've done tons of times before. But yeah, it's gonna be a part three, and gonna be like doing up my hair. And but yeah. And also I'm like also gonna be just like talking about like some other things while I'm getting into the story time. But I'm gonna like jump right into it because I don't want to like take a long time, um, talking about other things. And so yeah, but okay. So what was I saying? No, what was I gonna say? So I've been like, I've been. It's that time of the month for me. AKA I'm on my period. Um, we're all adults, so I'm just gonna be direct about it and frank about it. Um, I don't like using. I'm not one to use code words or like sugar code anything. Like, it is what it is. And hopefully, at least I hope everybody's who's watching my channel is an adult. If you're not, you should not be on my channel in the first place. So skedaddle. But anyways, yeah. So it's dealing with all of this on top of being on my period. Like, it's like a lot. So, but the show must go on. Anyways, so yeah, this is part three, and yeah. So I'm just gonna be like getting into that while I'm just like doing my hair. Yeah, I kind of feel just like leaving it down sometimes, because it just always looks good down. But I guess I'm gonna put it up in a half up, half down. So part three, where did I leave off? I think I left off where was talking about like, getting into the job, the what was it called? Starts with a W. The warehouse job. I've never worked in a warehouse before, obviously. So how I even knew about this job was they were telling everybody at the shelter about it. Like, hey, there's this like warehouse job, and like, just spreading the word to everybody, and like you can sign up, blah blah blah. So I signed up for it right away because at the time I was like seriously looking for a job, and I just wanted work, I wanted money and everything. So because like some people, they're like homeless but they also have a job, which I'm not sure how they like juggle all of that, but they somehow do. And yeah, like I was, one of those people that, despite my circumstances, I wanted to like start working and everything. Is this coming loose too? Oh, no, it's not. So, yeah. So I'm like, okay. I don't remember the first day, but I was not working there long at all. And I'm going to get into why. Now, with the warehouse, it's obviously fast-paced. If you've ever worked at a warehouse before, whether that be, the more popular, well-known ones, Amazon. Don't people at FedEx work at, or UPS work at warehouses too? I think. But definitely Amazon. And just like other warehouses, like overall, they're just fast-paced. So there's like people yelling at you. There's like people, not like, I guess in an angry way, but I guess that's how the job is. That's like how it works. But like sometimes you can get people at these places that like aren't the friendliest. And wow, how did that come loose? Oh, wow. Do I have to take all of this string down and just put in my hair cuffs? How did that... I guess I should have seen that coming, but still. This one looks like it wants to come out too. Oh, not yet. This one definitely came out. So, yeah. Can't go walking around like that with loose string falling from my hair, so I'm gonna have to do this back up. No big deal, like it's okay up here, but it's coming apart down here. So, while I was working there, like they showed me what to do and everything, cause it's like my first time. Oh, let me tell. Years later, and this is how karma works too, but something happened at this place, and I'm gonna they ended up not closing down. They should be closed down. By the way, this warehouse is called IFCO, IFCO. It was in Bolingbrook in Illinois. So like I was in Chicago, so we all took a van out of Chicago into Bolingbrook to work here. And I think I was part-time. I definitely didn't work every day at this factory. I think it's a couple of days a week, and it might have been on the weekends. I don't remember, but I'll get into like the good part later after I talk about all the bad parts of this job. So I wouldn't mind working at the factory. The job itself, it was fast-paced, but I was kind of getting it. Like, people showed me the ropes, like, how the assembly line, I was at the assembly line. Also, like, cleaned up here and there. I was mostly at the assembly line. And there are other people, like, in the, what was it called? The vehicles, the trucks or whatever, like, moving stuff. And I don't even know how to drive, like, let alone, like, that. Even though I think I would have a much better time driving a warehouse vehicle than, or whatever they call it, than the actual vehicle on the street. But eventually I'm going to learn how to drive. Like, I don't have an issue with driving. I just like, and then dealing with all the road rage and all the idiots, especially in Florida. I'm not calling anybody in Florida an idiot. I'm just saying, like, how people drive here. Like, I don't know, like, kind of second guessing my decision to get a driver's license and start driving in here. Anyways, so I didn't do the vehicle. I didn't do anything else there my whole time there, but the assembly line, I worked the assembly line. So it's like not too super quick, but it is like kind of quick. Sometimes I kind of fell behind because you're like, and it was like, for example, we did like, there were like egg crates and they were kind of still had egg yolks in it and stuff, and we would have to like spray it down, wash it, and we just we what I did, we had to break up. I had to like break up the crates or whatever it was. We had to do it quickly and then like send it down for it to get. Yeah, I think I remember we had to break it up so it could send down to get washed or hosed down or whatever. And so that's what I did. And so there was like this one girl that I was working with on the assembly line, and she started off super cool and everything. We worked together for a while. Then we ended up like not being cool anymore, and so like they ended up transferring me out of there to another assembly line, I think. And yeah, they transferred me to another like assembly line. Actually, was it an assembly line or was it like something else? Did I do something else? No, I think they moved me around from assembly line to assembly line. Yeah, I'm not doing good with these assembly lines. Like, put me somewhere else. Not at the line itself, but just like some of these people I was working with. And okay, so there was like this one guy, and he started off cool too. Like it always starts off good. We're all working together well, and everything always goes left. So with him, I didn't like that people were like, even when I was starting to get it down, I can't learn if people are always doing things for me. So after a while, like I kind of just let it happen for a couple of minutes, but every time, and this guy would just come down from where he was at, and he would just like not say like, you know, excuse me or anything, just like automatically took over what I was doing, like just like get right in front of me basically, and then do what I was doing, and then like send it down the line. Like I said, it seemed like he was the one in charge. We started off cool and everything, and I just didn't like that he was doing that. So I'm like, you know, I was like, basically, can you like, you know, and I was like polite about it, I think. And I was like, you know, and it wasn't just him. I was like, you know, can you guys let me, you know, do this basically? I don't remember exactly what I said, but I was basically like, can you guys let me, you know, do my own thing? And then there was a girl that started doing it, and I'm like, I started getting more annoyed, and I'm like, can you stop? And like she stopped, but like he kept doing, and so we just got into an argument. And the thing is, like he got into my face and everything, and so like I got into his face, and so we're just like in this shouting match, and then people got in between us and started breaking us up. So I left to get some sort of like superior or boss or somebody, and I explained to him what went down. And so we walked back over to the assembly line, and then he's like, okay, just stay here. And like I already know what to do. Like I've been through this plenty of times before. They always want you to like hang back while they deal, so there's not like an escalation and everything. So I had no issue with that. So I watch him go over to this guy and, you know, start talking to him. And I'm watching as the guy just automatically just started yelling at the boss or whoever he was. And basically, like, I'm not a lip reader or anything, but I think he's basically telling him like it was my fault, because he's like pointing, gesturing at me, but he's just like yelling at the guy, and like, that's your boss, and like, why are you yelling at him? Like, you're yelling at me, okay, but now you're yelling at the boss and everything. He's just like, if I were the boss, I'd be like, first of all, like, stop, like, lower your voice, and then we can talk. But he's just letting him yell at him. And so eventually they like stopped talking, came back toward me. Guess what? they transferred me to another assembly line. And I think the last line I was at, like, I eventually like went off to use the bathrooms, and their bathrooms were like kind of disgusting too. And like the whole environment was, the whole like place was, it wasn't filthy dirty, but the bathrooms, they've seen better days. I don't know how frequently they clean those bathrooms. Like, it's kind of a thing where you kind of had to like squat. You didn't feel comfortable like sitting on the toilet seat. At least I did that. Or I always set like toilet paper down on the toilet seat before I use it. Or like if it's just like so disgusting where I don't even feel comfortable with that, like not even like a whole roll of toilet paper on the toilet seat wouldn't make it cleaner. Like, I just straight up squat on it. If I just have to pee, if I have to do something else, like I'll just hold it. But if I had to pee, like I'll just squat or just set some toilet paper down. But anyways, like at this assembly line, I didn't get into it with anybody, but I just like, oh my gosh, like I just didn't like how people were talking to me and stuff. And just like, I'm just going to go to take a really long bathroom break. They're like, where are you going? I'm like, oh, I'm going to the bathroom for the next 15, 20, 30 minutes whenever this is over with. And they're like, where's she going? And I'm like, yeah, like, peace out. So the way that you had to sign in, you had to use, and this like came back to bite them. I'm going to get into that later on. But the way you signed in, you had to use a fingerprint. So you just, and I think that's how you got, no, that's not how you got your, is that how you got your check too? No, I think they just, no, they passed out the, I don't remember how you got your check, but when you clocked in, you clocked out, fingerprint, that was it. So that's what I did. I didn't think about it. Like, I just thought that's what you had to do. Little did I know that was against the law. But I didn't know that at the time. Because like I said, this is pretty much my second job, or I count it as my first, like, real, I don't even count this as a real job. Like, a warehouse is a real job. Like I said, they tax you and everything. Like, you take off taxes and stuff. That's how I count it as a real job, if they like take off taxes and whatnot. But I still didn't count it as a real job because I don't know. But felt like the only time I could be by myself and get some peace was when I like swept up. And towards the end of my shift, that's what I did. I stopped work at the assembly line if it was okay, because like if they need all hands on deck, like you can't just walk off and just like, you know. And that's what I did with the guy. When I was arguing with the guy, I just walked off, and then like they had to stop the whole thing. Like, somebody walks off, they have to literally stop the whole thing, because if one person is not doing what they're supposed to do, like everything backs up, comes a lot of chaos. So like I found myself doing that a lot. So everything was frequently backed up and all of that, because you're just not going to talk to me any sort of way that you want to. You're not going to yell, definitely not going to yell in my face. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. And so yeah, that's frequently what happened. And so like I just found myself just like, you know, walking off and just like doing other things. And so towards the end of my shift, I would just like clean up and everything. And that's what I did. I would just like clean up. And that was the only time I could be like by myself and just be peaceful, when I'm just like cleaning up the area. And this is not trash, just like mostly boxes, leftover boxes, and like plastic wraps and stuff, plastic and everything. So okay, like, but eventually I don't know if I was if I was laid off or if I was actually fired, because they don't just tell you, hey, you're fired, like don't bother showing up tomorrow. All I know is I was going in to my shift, and I was actually like, the thing was like I was actually putting in overtime too. I was asking, hey, can I work during the weekends? And eventually they allowed me to work the weekends so I can make more money. By the way, I don't remember how much I was making. I think it was $600 every couple of weeks. So it was a lot more than it's a lot more than my little $200 stipend every 2 weeks. I'll say that. So I was like happy I was making more money. I just hated working there, even if it was a couple days a week. But they let me work weekends. The thing was, maybe it was I forgot to like clock in or clock out, but I worked that overtime and it was never counted toward my check. Like they never paid me overtime for when I did work overtime. I'm pretty sure like I clocked in, like I don't know. And I think I asked somebody, I'm like, do you have to like clock in? Yeah, I remember like, I don't know if they did this on purpose, gave me wrong information on purpose, but I asked somebody like, if you work overtime on the weekends and stuff, or if you work on the weekends, like do you have to clock in and clock out like on the weekdays? And she's like, oh no, you don't have to do that. So I didn't do it, and guess what? They didn't pay me for that overtime. Of course you have to clock in and clock out. Anytime you show up to work, whether it's overtime, like you're still working, you're getting those hours, so you want to get the money, so you have to show that you showed up. You have to have proof that you showed up and worked overtime so they can pay you. If there's no proof that you worked, they can't pay you, so I'm pretty sure she did that on purpose. I don't know why, but there's a lot of people. I remember one time I was in the cafeteria, and I didn't stay there. I usually, because it's really crowded, it's a small, it's not even a cafeteria, it's like a break room. Yeah, it's a break room. There's like benches, tables and stuff, and then there's vending machines. Ooh, wait. Oh, I just got a text message saying that my balance, remember I was at the emergency room? Literally while I'm doing this video, I just got a pop-up text message saying you at the hospital I was recently at, you have a new balance of over $4,000. Listen, first of all, I do not have a single cent to my name right now. And even if I did, you did not treat my main ailment, which was my feet. So since you did not treat that, even if I do come into any money, I am not because okay, they did do some stuff while I was there. They ran tests, they fed me and blah blah blah, but they did not fix the main issue for why I was there in the first place. So they basically didn't do what I came there and asked them to do. So yeah, I don't know who's gonna come up with that money, because it's not gonna be me. But anyway, back to my story time. So I was in the break room one time. They had vending machines, blah blah blah. So I had some money because I'm getting checks, so I could get some lunch on my break. And so I got something from the vending machine. I got a drink, got a little snack. I set that down. I turned around for just a few seconds because I don't know what I had to do. But I came back, guys. It was just a few seconds. It wasn't even 5 minutes. And it wasn't even 2 minutes. Came back. My drink was all over the table. Like I said, at this time, I wasn't the type of person to let's just say, if it were now, I would have responded to that a lot differently. Because like I said, I think some things were done on purpose. I think that was definitely done on purpose. Because like I said, it was a few seconds. How did I go from set this drink down, it's open, it's a whole drink in there, not half a drink, it's full drink in there, turn around 2 seconds later, it's all over the table. And I didn't even hear anything, I didn't hear a crash or anything. So I don't know, somebody just took it, walked up, took it, poured it on the table, poured my drink. I don't know what happened. I'm pretty sure that was done on purpose. And even at that time, I think it was done on purpose. But what did I do? Just so, I thought I was being the better person. I threw it out, went back, spent some more spent a couple more dollars on a brand new drink. Happily, casually went up. I was like, okay, let me get another drink. Took this one, took everything, went and sat somewhere else outside of the break room. That's how I handled that. But yeah, I'm sure that was done on purpose. So, because I was already starting to gain like a lot of enemies there. And for like, there's only, I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Eventually, like that one morning, I showed up. I mean, I didn't show up. I was getting ready. Like I was, so the transportation I was talking about, because I couldn't get there myself, because all the way out in a suburb out of Chicago, it was on Bolingbrook, so I couldn't get there myself. So what me and everybody else, or most people who was going to this warehouse, we paid this guy, and he was legit too, but we paid this guy a portion of our check at the end of like every time we got our check. We paid this guy a portion to take us out every week to go back and forth to the warehouse. And I hated it because it was like a good chunk of our check. It was like, I think it was a couple $100. And it was a pretty nice long ride there. Don't get me wrong, but I just like hated having to fork up all of that money. And but had to do what I had to do to get back and forth to work. Like I said, if I had a car, I would definitely drove myself there. Even though I don't know, I probably, I would have to pay gas and everything. I don't know how that works, but we had to pay him, take us back and forth. So we're riding in this van, and there was like this one time, there was like this guy and this girl, and like I was kind of cool with the girl. We weren't friends or anything, but we were like, like on speaking terms. But she was like getting like frisky with this guy. I don't know if they were like, how it happens in shelters, like guys and girls just like get together, like, seemingly spontaneously. And so I knew that they weren't together, but they were just, I don't know, like a thing. But anyways, they were just like kissing and everything in the back, and I just so happened to be right next to them. So they were kind of just too close for comfort, and his hand was like by my leg and everything, and he wasn't like touching me or anything, but just like he was just too close to me. And like I don't know if I was just like making a big deal out of it, but I'm like, you're just too close to me. Like I said something about like your hand is too close or whatever, and he's like, no, it's not. And he was like hi. Every time we picked this guy up, he was like hi or whatever. I remember one time we picked it up. It was kind of a sad situation because we're all dealing with a lot. I guess that's how he dealt with his issues. But one time we picked him up, we watched him like get up off of a bench. His eyes were like literally rolled up into the back of his head, and he like stumbled his way into the car, and like, but he was like, he's like, no. And then like the girl like who's making out with him and stuff, she just like moved both of them over. I'm like, thank God. And so from then on, I rode in the front seat with the driver, with the guy who was taking us back and forth. I just rode with him in the front seat, unless somebody, and it was understood like that was my seat, like my unofficial seat, because there was just too much happening in the back seat. There was one time this other guy, he like almost fell asleep on my shoulder several times. And I just like moved. I didn't say anything. I just moved over, and he like woke up and just like apologized one time. So it was all cool. No harm, no foul. It was an accident. Because I thought he was doing it on purpose, but it was an accident. Because I just sat in the front seat. Unless somebody else sat in the front seat, I didn't make a big deal out of that. Like I just sat in the back seat, but mostly I sat in the front seat for the remainder of my time working there. Anyways, while I was sitting and waiting for the ride, I think it was a weekend, I was sitting waiting because during the weekend it was even less of us going there. So I offered to work overtime on the weekend so I get more money So I was sitting there waiting for my ride. All of a sudden, I get a call. It was the warehouse. It was a woman telling me, um, what did she say to me? Because she basically said I didn't need to come in that morning or like at all anymore unless they needed me. But she said something about production. What did she say? What was that stupid excuse she came up for? Because I knew like this wasn't true. Like I was having issues there with people. I think they just decided to let me go without telling me they let me go. They just made it seem like they were laying me off, because they're like, oh, we'll let you know when we need you again. And like I said, I never got that call, because I basically felt like I was fired. I don't know, but she's like something like we're slow on production's slower, something like that, something about their production. And I'm like, oh, because at first I was confused, but then I was like kind of annoyed, because I felt like, even back then, I felt like she wasn't being kind of truthful. I'm like, I was getting ready to come in like this morning, like I'm getting ready to come in. And she's like, oh, we don't need you come in this morning. Like, we'll let you know in the future when we need you again. And what did I say? I think we kind of got into a little back and forth. And like, I think I just like, like, okay, like, well, I just hurry up and hung up the phone with her. And like I said, I never got that call. And that's great, because I hated working there. So that was the warehouse. And now this is what happened years later. I got something in the mail about a class action lawsuit at IFCO. I didn't even know like if they were still open, in business or whatever, like, or if this was just a class action lawsuit and they were no longer business. I'll have to look it up. Now it's making me want to look up because this is years later after I got that in the mail. Like, this is years after that. I'm like, after this video, I'm gonna look up if IFCO is still in business. I doubt it, but I don't know, maybe they are. But they were sued, not by me, but by other people who work there. Like I said, this is years later. And I found out reading the class action lawsuit, and I worked there, so they sent it to me too, asking if I wanted to be a part of this class action lawsuit. And of course I did, because I'm like, screw you, IFCO. Like, you pretty much screwed me over, and like, there's like treated me wrong. So yeah, because I mean, basically they did do, like, putting all that aside, the reason why people sued IFCO is because, remember I said we had to punch in and out by scanning them with our fingerprint? Turns out they weren't supposed to do that without consent. They did that to all of us. They got all our fingerprints for me for weeks, and for other people maybe years, however long they've been doing this, and without our consent. So turns out they're supposed to have our consent. Maybe we're supposed to sign something saying, hey, like, we need to, get your biometric information. This is what they said in the lawsuit, like, biometric information. Like, okay. And you say either yes or no. And so I'm clocking in and out, just like going about my merry way, just casually clocking in and out, casually giving these people my biometric information, not signing anything beforehand, saying, hey, we're going to collect this while you work here. Like, is this okay if we do this? Like, no. So I was doing that for weeks, not knowing that this was not okay. Because like I said, I'm still new to the workforce. And definitely, if I were to, in the future, get a job that required me to clock in and out using my fingerprint or scan my eyes or scan whatever part of me, and without signing anything, that'll be a red flag for me. And I will definitely inquire about that. Back then, I just didn't know, guys. So people sued them, and we won. Like, they paid us. I got I don't remember what it was. It wasn't like thousands of dollars or anything. I wish, but it was like, I got some money out of it. And because, what happened to me too, like I'm clocking in and out, I'm giving them my biometric information, and it's still out there, I'm pretty sure it's still out there. Like, where is it going to go? So, yeah, that's what you get, IFCO. Like, I can't describe to you, like, that was one little one of those little satisfactory moments in my life, like little satisfactions in my life, where, they call themselves like, let me go, fire me or whatever. And then years later, now you got to pay me some money for just screwing me over in every possible way. Now I know better, guys. And that's why those types of jobs, that's, like I said, it's my first and last warehouse jobs. I try to stay away from jobs where there's like a bunch of like ratchet people. There's like a bunch of like shady stuff going on, and like there was shady stuff going on. There was a bunch of stuff going on that I didn't even like notice, or just, I don't know. But yeah, that came back to bite them. I'm probably not the only person they screwed over, but yeah, I don't know if, I'm pretty sure, like, this is, like I said, years ago. Hopefully everybody's moved on. I don't know if people, like, still work there, but I'm definitely, like, moved on from it. I got what I got out of it. Like, I got that settlement. Like, it's over with. Like, I don't hold any grudges against anybody. Like, it's done. And yeah. So, like I said, I want this to be the third and final part for this story time. So for the remainder of my time at Safe Haven, there was no more jobs. That was my, like, last job there, was the warehouse. Or maybe it was the warehouse. That was the only job I did while I worked there. I got my little money out of it, like, okay. So what else happened while I was at Safe Haven? I was around a couple of shootings, like, like I said, I was on the west side, some nearby shootings, like nothing too major. And like, that was it. Like, wasn't anything too big happen while I was there. And I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think that was it. Now, a couple of things. The reason why I left a Safe Haven earlier than I wanted to, because there are time limits at these places anyway. I think this was another 2-year program for the youth program. You can only stay there 2 years before they move you on. Like I said, other people, every time I was in like the dorms, and then somebody was coming like all happy and like, hey, I got a place, like they got me a place, I got a place, I'm getting out of here. And I was like, okay, maybe my time will come before I get out of here. That time never came, of course, for me. Like, I never got a place, and never found me anything. Maybe it was getting to that, because like I said, I was there like 6 months. It wasn't the full 2 years. So maybe if I would have stayed there the full 2 years, or the full time that they allowed me to stay there, maybe I eventually would have got a place. But I'm just thinking, like, 6 months, like, and I didn't know at that time, but these wait lists, they take years, and I'm still new. I was new to the system and everything, so I just wasn't just thinking about how long it took for you to get spots, to get a place. So I'm like, okay, I'm never gonna get a place. Like, my time is never gonna come. So, like, okay. So I was getting tired of everything, and I was ready to move on to where, I don't know, but I was getting tired of being there. I was tired of dealing with the staff and just some of the people there. I remember one time there were these twins, and one of them I eventually, like, had an issue with him further down the line, but I was like pretty cool with everybody for the most part. Just a few people I was like, But I remember one night these twins came in, and they were new too, and they were fighting with each other. And staff, they would just like, they were staff, his name was Mr. I didn't like him. At first I liked him. We talked about like my future aspirations in politics and stuff. I thought he was at first a cool guy, but he was just like too friendly with everybody. He was kind of acting like everybody's friend and not like an actual staff member, trying to keep everything under control. And I remember one time, like, he just allowed these two twins to like go back and forth until he's just watching everything until a couple of minutes went by, and eventually he decided like, hey, knock it off. But he's just like sitting there watching like just the rest of us, and you know, like, he's staff, like, he's anyway. I found out what kind of person he was down the line, and I was no longer cool with him. There was like one staff, and she was like always nice to me, and like, and we just we never got into an argument or anything. But you know, when my stuff got stolen and I pressured him about them looking at the cameras and everything, and he's just like, oh yeah, he's not taking it seriously, and he's not even looking at me. He's like looking down at whatever he's doing, and I'm talking to him, not giving me the respect or courtesy to look at me. And I kind of like overlooked all of these things back then, but right, like now, like, if you're not even gonna, you know, give me like the respect of looking me in the eye when I'm talking to you, like, well, I'm not even gonna finish talking. I'm gonna talk to somebody else, because that's just so disrespectful. Like, you could just it's not that important. Anyways, that was like one thing. That was the thing that kind of started me not liking him. And I remember one time, like, I brought it up to some of the other staff, and he all of a sudden, like, he was so nervous. I remember, like, he's like, oh, okay, like, he started getting more like animated, like he started taking it more seriously. And like, why I say he was nervous, because his hands were like visibly shaking and stuff once the other staff started to, like, you know, kind of say, like, not kind of like pressure him to like do stuff. But anyways, like, so there was this one time, and he was, let me try to remember where I was, what I was talking about. Back to the present. Well, not the present in the story. But so what was I gonna say? Oh, wait, I forgot what I was gonna say, guys. Oh, but like, yeah, these two twins, and like, they were just like literally fighting like in front of my cot, and they were just like fighting in the area. And everybody was asleep at this time. This is like, everybody's in bed trying to sleep, and so they like they're fighting, and they like crash into my cot. And so I can't remember if I was awake at this time, if they woke me up, all this commotion woke me up, or if I was already awake and like they're just fighting by my cot. But they just like, one of them like crashed into my cot. They didn't like knock me over or anything. It wasn't that hard, but like they like, you know, moved my cot a little bit. So I'm like, okay, like, it wasn't on purpose or anything. Like, they're just two brothers, you know, fighting with each other for whatever reason. At first, you know, they walked in, like, they were just bumping into each other purposely, and then they just start like fighting, and not like fist fighting, but just like shoving and stuff like that. But it's knocked into my cot. So I'm like, okay, should I move? Like, but where am I gonna move? Like, all the other cots are filled up. Like, should I just move my cot somewhere else? I don't know. But I decided on just staying there. And eventually everything settled down. But it's like, oh my God, like, I just can't wait till I get out of here. But so I'm like just watching all of this happen. And so like eventually they, you know, stop. But this is what caused me to like eventually move out of the shelter. So there was this one girl, and it turns out she wasn't new there. Like, she'd been there before, but she'd caused some problems, but I guess it wasn't enough for them to, you know, completely ban her from the shelter. They let her back in there. And I'm just like, okay. But they let her back in, and she was like, she was pregnant, by the way. Like, not that that's important, but I mean, I call her a bully. Like, she's always trying to mess with somebody, like, always has something to say. Like, even to me, not to me, but just, like, about me, or, like, I was, like, when I would just do the smell test to make sure everything was, like, didn't smell dirty, she would comment about that. Or when I was just getting something from the rack in the cafeteria, getting, like, I can't remember if it was food or something else, and she's like, no, that's not it. You're not supposed to get that. You're supposed to get something like that. And I just turned around and said to her, like, because she's just saying little stuff off to the side, but she's just, so I'm just saying, like, why are you always trying to antagonize people? She's like, I'm not trying to antagonize people. Hey, we're going to play that game. I didn't say anything else. But yeah, and then, so there was another time in the bathroom, and I think she did this on purpose, or I don't know, like, I think she did it on purpose. I'm walking out of the stall, she's, like, in the mirror, and she just, like, backed up, like she's backing up or something, and we, like, bump into each other. And, of course, I'm thinking it's an accident, so, like, I apologize first. And, like, she's like, she didn't apologize, she's like, oh, like, I don't know, but now I'm thinking that it was maybe on purpose, because, like I said, she's always trying to do stuff to antagonize people. So there's this one time, I can't remember what was, like, the final straw with her, but like I said, she was, like, popular with staff. They would, like, remember I said they would choose people to, like, lead the line and everything. They would always choose her to lead the line, and they would, like, always ask her to do stuff around the shelter. Like, they would always put her in charge of doing this and that, like, basically just doing stuff, like running errands, not running errands, but, like, I don't know, like cleaning up this or doing that. Or she would always volunteer, I don't know, but the staff seemed to like her, obviously, because they let her back in, even though I don't know what she did. I can't remember what she did to that she had to leave the first time. But like I said, obviously it wasn't serious enough to them to the point where they couldn't allow her back a second time. But I think they should not have allowed her back the second time, because obviously she's not the type of person that should be there. So there was one time, and I was in the shower, and sometimes, like, they gave us a lot longer than 5 minutes to take a shower. I think it was like maybe, like, I want to say 15 minutes to take a shower. I don't remember. But me and I take long showers. I try to be in and out of there within the time that they give us. But sometimes, they would knock on my door and be like, you coming out? Like, stuff like that. Like, so I'd be like, okay, I'm coming out. But there was one time, I stayed in there a little extra than I was supposed to. And so staff knocked on my door. All of a sudden, like, the girl who's, I said, always trying to antagonize people. And what was her name, actually? Because, I like to put these people on blast when I can. Even though this was years ago, but, like, who cares now? But, and this is more karma. I'm going to get into her. Let me hurry up, too, because this is going to be the final part. But this is more karma coming back, to haunt people. But I'll get into that. All of a sudden, I hear another person knocking on the door. And I knew it wasn't the first person, because they started, cussing at me. They're, like, pounding on the door, and they're like, hurry the F up or something. So I'm like, okay. Because, like I said, this is the back of the time where I'm not a non-confrontational person. And also, like, guys, again, I'm trying to keep a roof over my head. If you get into fights, like, they kick you out of these places immediately. Doesn't matter who's right or who's wrong. Like, both of you have to go, is how they treated it. So she's pounding on the door, hurry the F up. And because apparently she was next in the shower. So instead of opening the door and just, like, going back and forth with her, because, my time's up anyway, I purposely take as long as, I don't remember how much longer I was in there, but I was in there for quite a while before I came out. And she didn't pound on the door again. She had no choice but to wait till I came out. I just took such a long time until I finally came out of there, and she went and took her shower. But so yeah, and we never got into a fight or anything, but we definitely, we got into our back and forth, and that was it. I never got into a fight with anybody there. Just like whole bunch of arguing. There was one time I thought there was like a false alarm, but I thought my stuff was stolen again because it was stolen the first time. I couldn't find my stuff. And so this was when I actually started freaking out, and started freaking out publicly, like not publicly, but like, out loud instead of just silently. Like I wasn't silent anymore. Like I still saw somebody took my stuff again. I'm like, oh no. So I just out loud said, and oh my gosh, I can't believe I said this, because this is, like I said, it's during the time where I'm just like, I was just like, oh my God, I'm gonna call the cops again. And even though they didn't do anything the first time, but this is more of like an empty threat. This is more like me bluffing and everything. Because I'm thinking whoever's got my stuff is just going to give it up if I threaten the cops and everything. But I'm like, looking back at this now, like, I'm like, oh, Kalia. If I were dealing with that now, I probably would have just, had to just let it go if I thought somebody took my stuff, and just like, let it go, like nothing you can do. But back then, I was just like, so I kind of like said out loud, I was yelling out loud, like, whoever's got my stuff, like, give it back. Like, my stuff is not here. Like, I can't find my stuff. Whoever's got it better give it back. And I didn't say, or like, I'm going to, beat you up or anything. I just said, or I'm calling the police. That's what I said. Like, you, like, give my stuff back, or I'm calling the police. So, like, everybody's quiet, and then like the staff member, the one I said, the only one who I got along with, she just like took it seriously. The TV was on, that she turned the TV off. She started going around saying like, who's got her stuff, like, what's going on? And the other one, Miss James, who I said was, the ratchet, just like I didn't get along with, she's doing the same thing. She's like, they're all like yelling at everybody to give me back my stuff and stuff like that. Turns out it was a false alarm. Like, I went back and checked again. My stuff was in the laundry. I think I forgot to take it out. I just left it in there. Something like that. It was in the laundry room. That's where I eventually found it. It wasn't stolen. False alarm, like I said. I, of course, apologized to everybody after, because I just made like a whole big deal, like the staff and everybody. Like, I'm basically accusing people at that point of stealing my stuff, and it wasn't stolen. I just forgot, like, because I'm just, I guess, scatterbrained, because I'm just going through a lot and just forgot my laundry. So this is like that one time. And somebody was like, oh, she said she was sorry and everything. Like, and I did apologize. I kind of felt bad, yelling at everybody for no reason. So I'm glad I got my stuff. I'm glad, it wasn't stolen and everything, and I got it back. And but what I didn't like, everything went back to normal. And then I'm just like sitting there, not crying or anything, but my hands are in my head. My head, like, my head is in my hands, and I'm just like, and people were asking me, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. I'm just like, I felt like I was going crazy, and I was just like under so much stress, and I'm just like, so everyone, I didn't like the Miss James. She was like mocking me. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna call, you guys better like do this, or I'm gonna call the police and stuff like that. So yeah. So the reason why I left, the girl, like the antagonizer, what was this girl's name? I keep trying to remember her name. I'm still trying to do my hair too. Well, it's pretty much done, but yeah, I'm gonna put it up in like a half up, half down. Let me set the camera here, because I gotta tie it off. But so I feel like it's gonna come loose again. Oh, I don't want to use the scissors, so let me wrap this around really tight. I can't remember this girl's name, so I'm gonna call her the antagonizer. So the antagonizer, because that's what she basically was. They put her in charge of laundry. Now, I do my laundry. I did not want her. I did not, and I think I brought up this concern to them. And I'm like, when my laundry's done, can I just like get my clothes out? So, because I didn't. Now I told her like I didn't trust her with my stuff and everything. And so they're like, oh no, like, she has to do it and all this stuff. So I'm like, all right, I'm out of here, because the little clothes that I do have, I'm not going to risk her tampering with the little clothes that I do have. And maybe she wouldn't, like, maybe she would. I wasn't going to take that risk, because then we definitely would get into a fight if that were to happen. And so before all of that gets to that point, I'm just going to remove myself from this situation. I remove myself from the shelter entirely, and I was gone. The final thing that happened, I was waiting for some sort of like, I think it was my refund. Yeah, I think it was my refund check from my school. And so when I left the shelter, I had to go back and get that. So they're like telling me, because I'm expecting at this point it should be there. Like, that was my last address that was sent there. They keep telling me on the phone, like, oh, it's not here. Like, we checked, it's not here. So then, like, the guy picks up, and, like, I just hate talking to him, because, you have to deal with all the ratchet, all the ghetto, and all this stuff. So I started, like, I remember I was on the bus, too, arguing with him on the bus, talking on the phone. And so he eventually hangs up on me, because, like, I'm going back and forth with him about my refund check. And I'm telling him, like, what do you mean? Like, it should be there. Like my stuff, my mail should be sent there. And I'm expecting it's important. Like, what do you mean? Like, every time I call, it's not there. Like, I'm coming over there now. Like, it. And I'm like, I said something like, why are you guys always so incompetent and stuff like that? And then, like, he just hangs up on me once I say call him incompetent and all that. So I'm on my way over there. I think this is the third time I call the cops. And I'm like, oh my gosh. No, the second time. No, yeah, second time. Because I said I would call the cops, like, the time I thought my clothes were stolen, and they weren't. They were in the laundry room. It was just like an empty threat. But this time I actually did call them, because I actually physically went over there. I'm like, I need my stuff. Like, where is it? They're like, oh, we didn't get any mail from you, and blah, blah, blah. Same thing on the phone. So I'm calling. I'm waiting there such a long time. I'm waiting there so long where I have to call 911 back. And I'm like, hey, I called this address. I'm at this address. I already called them. They're not coming. Like, and I'm like, this is an emergency, because, like, I need my mail. Like, this is important mail. They're not giving me my mail. I think they're holding it from me. Like, I don't know. Like, you need to come over here. So I'm like, okay, the second time I call, like, they send somebody over there. And, like I said, we're on the west side, so I don't even expect a quick response. Let's say I was shot. I don't even expect them to do anything, take that seriously, let alone, like, my mail is missing or whatever. Like, but they sent somebody over there, a couple officers. I tell them, like, hey, you want me to go in and just, like, they're like, no, stay here. Like, we'll talk to them. So they go in and they talk to them. They come out empty-handed. Basically, the girl at the desk, she, like, because I remember, like, as I was calling on my phone, and she knew I was calling 911 because she couldn't overhear me. She starts laughing and stuff. So she told them the same thing she told me, and they come out, they're like, hey, they said blah, blah, blah. Same thing that they told me. So I don't have I can't do anything else. And eventually, like, it turns out, like, I don't know what happened, but maybe they didn't send it there. The college didn't send it there. I don't know what happened to my refund check. I ended up having to send, because I wasn't going to, not get my money at all. So I talked to the college, had them resend me the refund check, because I told them, I didn't get it for some reason. So eventually I got my money. But that was my absolute last time dealing with them. That was like the last time. So that's pretty much it. My time at Safe Haven. Like I said, I think that was the third shelter I was at, not the second. I'll talk about the second shelter, the one that I was at for just like a few days. It was that bad. Like I said, to this day, I think that was the worst shelter that I've ever been in. I'll get into that because I think after Pacific Army mission, I went straight there. So yeah, I'll probably get into that one, or if not, I'll share another one. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of the story time. As always, let me make sure that I want to just throw my hair up real quick, but I'm not done tying this up. But yeah, basically, let me just show you how it's gonna look. A half up, half down. I got 20 braids in. I'll do 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna kind of do it uneven. I'm gonna do like leave some gold out. 1, 2, 3, and then 7 on this side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and basically just half up, half down, just like this. And yeah, like that's basically it. That's how I'm gonna have it. Maybe leave some in the front. Actually, I don't think I like that much. I don't know, maybe I like leave it down. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of this story time. And let's see, am I missing anything? Oh, the karma. I forgot. Okay, real quick. So the antagonizer. I didn't just leave because of her. It was just a bunch of stuff that it was just building up to the point where I had to go. I never just leave just because of one thing, like, oh, this person made me mad, I'm out of here, and just go. Like, no, like it just builds up. Like I said, I was there for 6 months. So 6 months of all of the nonsense I had to deal with, it built up. And she was just like the last straw. Like, I didn't know like why they continued to let this individual be there. And she's constantly antagonizing people. Like, she's pregnant, and on top of all that, like, what if she antagonizes the wrong person? And just like, I mean, that's on her, but she's just I don't know. But after I left, some years later, time has passed by, I find out I run into somebody from the shelter. And this is at the point where I had my own apartment at this point, and I was actually at a courthouse because, like, this is another story time altogether. And I was at a courthouse because I was dealing with issues at my apartment, and I was on my way out of that situation too. But I met her at the courthouse. I don't know why she was. I think her situation was kind of a little worse than mine. I can't remember what her reason for being at the courthouse, but we ran into each other there. So she reminded me who she was, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember, because I do remember her. And I didn't mention her during story time because I just forgot. Like, some people I don't mean to leave them out, but they were such a small part in the story that I just unintentionally left them out. But I remember her. She was in school too. She was like me. There were people there that were there just to be there. There were people there just to cause trouble, and there's people like her and me doing what we were supposed to do. She was in school, I was in school, and yeah, so we bumped into each other years later. We're at the courthouse, and I didn't mind sharing with her. I'm not sure if I shared with her why I was there, but she shared what she was going through, and so we kind of just caught up a little bit. And so we got each other's like phone number and everything, and over text, I can't remember if I asked about her, but she wound up telling me the antagonizer. She's like, oh yeah, her, like, she's like on the train now. She's panhandling. And so, like I said, you're there, you have an opportunity to get yourself together. You're pregnant on top of that. And so you just want to just waste all this time pissing people off, doing nothing with your life, Okay, now your time has ended at the shelter. Like, your time is up. Because I think she was older than everybody else. So I think her time was she was phasing out of that shelter anyways. So now she's back on the streets. She didn't get a job. She didn't do anything. Like, she wasted her time. She pissed me off, everybody else. Now, I have an apartment. She's panhandling on the red line. And I don't know what happened to her kid. Like, obviously this is years later, so she had her kid already. I don't know what happened to them. I just know, like, she's panhandling on the red line now. So that's what she gets for all of the crap that she just put everybody through, and all the, like, crap and everything. Like, it is what it is. Like, that's what she gets. Like, that's karma. So that was just like another satisfying moment for me. Like, I didn't wish bad on the girl or anything, but people get what they get coming to them. Like, that's just, she got what she got coming to her, and that's just it. But this was a couple years ago. I don't know where she's at right now. I don't care, to be honest. Like, yeah. But that is the end of part 3 and the final part of this story time. My second time being homeless at a safe haven. And I will see you in whatever I decide to throw next at you. But that is it for now. See ya.